Hi everyone, and welcome to Glacier Trading Company. I've been a professional buyer for most of my adult life. I'm Craig. Join me from my remote northern location as I buy and sell antiques, collectibles, and vintage from interesting locations and from interesting people, and resell those items online. I buy from auctions, estate liquidations, stores, and from folks that just look me up and simply ask if I want to buy their items. Hang out with me for a bit and see what I got this week, and meet some of the local wildlife that live in my backyard. Let's get to it. So this old table is a great old piece, and I don't typically do restoration or repair work on pieces like this. There's a trim feature that runs around the perimeter. Obviously it's upside down. And when I bought it at the auction, the piece that came off of here, which is identical to this, was rolling around in this little tray here. But somehow when I got home, it's gone missing. So anyway, I'm gonna refabricate this piece. But it needs a few glue ups, as there's a joint over here that's kind of coming apart. I wanna fix that. And typically with all this stuff, I'll just give it a quick clean. This is the most important piece you can have, is this brush. It hooks onto the vacuum cleaner, and it really does a good job of just knocking spider webs and any loose scale. Sorry for the noise. Another thing I noticed is one of the tips of one of the finials is broke off. I don't think I have anything like that. And I'm not a furniture restoration shop, so that's a little, to turn something like that is a little beyond my capability. Well, I'm noticing that this looks like it took a shot here. Let me see if I can get it. It not only has pulled out of the joint, but it looks like it's cracked there too. So the first thing I'm going to try to do is pull this piece off here. Because if I can pull that, I can use it as a template, because it's obviously identical as the other side. Find an appropriate piece of wood and see if I can't trace it out and cut that. So I'm going to do that first, and then when I'm done messing with that, I'm going to see if I can't glue that and clamp it and see if I can't pull that tight. It's not loose. I mean, the leg, it's pretty, I'm pulling on it pretty hard. Seems like it moves a tiny bit, but you know, this is oak and it's ancient, so when that stuff dries out, it's as hard as stone. So yeah, let's try to pull that piece off, see how that goes. That moved it pretty nicely. I suspect it didn't probably fit real super good in the first place, and this old wood shrank, got smaller. That's what you end up with. So, yeah, I'll shoot some oil. Yeah, do that, Craig. I'll shoot some glue in there. make a nice big mess. How much fun is it to make a big mess? This is my fancy, this stuff works really good. I've got Gorilla that I use too. That stuff's pretty amazing. What I'm attempting to do here, as most people will tell you when you get older, gravity's not your friend, but I'm going to try to make gravity my friend right now and have it just pull this glue all the way through the joint. I think I got it in there pretty good, but you know what? Let's just knock it out right. It runs through the other side. I got to call that close. Good. Let's seat it up real nice. Cold. Feel pretty good about that. So, yeah, just let that sit. I'm gonna have to let that sit for at least 2 days. It's late fall here in Wisconsin, and it's cold. In fact, right now in the warehouse, it's only 52 degrees. So that glue will not set up overnight. I've had a couple of little glue ups on a bunch of this other furniture that I've set up in the antique store, and I've had to wait 2 and 3 days for it to be, just as hard as cement. So, and that's what we want before we pull the clamps. So meanwhile, I'll take my little piece that I pulled off there, find a suitable piece of wood, trace it. I'll cut that tomorrow and spend some time sanding it. And I got to try to figure out some way to match up the stain so it's somewhat close. And the rest of it will go really fast. I'm not going to do anything to this piece. I'm just going to oil it. I'm just going to use some, probably some orange glow or something like that on it, and just nourish it a little bit. I'm real big on just selling things as close to the way I got them as possible. And that's it for today. This is the piece that I took off and I traced it. It's got a piece of basic pine board. And let's cut it out. Well, this glue joint has been drying now for about 3 days. I think it's safe to pull the clamp off, see how we did. Yeah, that looks light years better. Let me see if I can get that. I gotta try to find some stain that's close. I'll hit that with a file and sandpaper and kind of even that up a little bit. And we'll go from there. More to come. So where I'm at with this right now is this piece I cut is sanded up and pretty much ready to go. What I've done is, aside from the holes that I drilled on here, take a caliper reading, and it's about an inch, but I countersunk the hole a little bit, so let's say 7/8. And then the table's about another 7/8. So I need to choose screws that won't poke through the tabletop. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and attach this piece to the table. I like to prefab stuff before I start any finish work. And then I'm going to pull it and then attach the other side and get that glued back up. And I'll just leave this sit for a day or two again until that glue dries up. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and stain and finish this. And then when the rest of the piece gets oiled, this will not. This piece will, have a new clear coat on it. It'll be way too soft to throw oil on it. So, but it'll have hopefully the right shine to it, because hopefully the clear coat that I picked kind of matches the older finish here. So let's get on with locating this. Let's try to center it up where it was before. It's really close right there. So I got a couple of random screws laying in here. 1.5 inches, that'll be perfect. In the meantime, I kind of cleaned up the wood underneath so that this would set nice and flush before I do the glue up on it. Oak is hard. Okay. Of course, you won't see any of this because it's going to be flipped over, and you'd have to be laying on the floor looking up to see up to that. All right. So that's pretty good. See if we're still in the neighborhood here. I'm going to leave all the fasteners how I have them, because the holes are already there. I'm just going to throw some glue on there and then tap in place with my rubber mallet. Where's my rubber mallet? And then clamp it gently. It's so cold in here right now. I just checked, it's 51 degrees in here. So it just takes a long time for this stuff to set up. I left this clamp outside overnight one day. Look at that. Don't like that. All right. Next, we'll pull that piece off and stain it. So I got a little bit different stain here. It's freezing in the shop right now. It's only like 47 degrees. I got like 3 shirts and a coat on. This is a golden mahogany, and it's supposed to look more like an aged type wood tone. I'm here in the antique store right now doing it. I feel like this is going to be a little too golden, so I might chase it with a real super light coat of espresso after this dries. Espresso? Espresso. Did I say espresso? Okay. My brain is frozen. This is Minwax, I think. No, it's not. Verathane. I had some Minwax and it was a little too yellowish, I think. Because I need to get real ruddy to match that original flavor. So I'll probably put this on, wipe it, let it sit for a while. It's supposed to sit for an hour between coats, but I think it's gonna have to sit longer because it's just so cold in here. This actually is a kind of an old piece of pine too. I started thinking about it, and I think this came off of it was just a scrap I had from a project I did. Oh man, it must have been 9 or 10 years ago. But it was never painted or stained or varnished or anything like that, so yeah, that's gonna really lighten up with. But I gotta get it evened out. So I'm just going to attack this in chapters. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that part looks good. I like that. Gives it an instantly aged look. Yeah, so I've got quite a ways to go before I can make that get to there. And I'm trying to look past grains and all that sort of thing. I'm just trying to see if I can get the actual color tone to be similar. That wiped off so much. I think I'm just going to put another coat on and just let it sit for a little bit. If I can somewhat evenly here. For what I have in mind, that's pretty close. So just a nice user-friendly product. I don't work for them. I don't have anything to do with their company. But it's a really nice cleaner. And it nourishes the wood. And it smells great. Wood gets really dry and it splits. I got a split in the top here. I looked at seeing what it would take to redo that, and it would mean completely disassembling this thing. And it's just not that bad. I really like leaving things in as close to original as I found it condition as I can. And you got yourself a real cute little table. So I got a lot of questions. People are asking how all the deer made it through the hunting season. And most of them made it. We lost Monica. A hunter took her, which I find kind of upsetting, not only from the aspect that she's gone, but those two fawns of hers, they just never left her side. I mean, they were somebody to shoot the mom right out from under them. The chances of those two surviving the winter now are really low. They're really small fawns. They were born a little bit later in the spring, early summer, and didn't really, get to be a good size. This week, both of Jayne's fawns were hit by cars this summer, so she's kind of taken them on a little bit. But when it comes to food, she's a feed herself first kind of deer. Everybody else kind of comes separate. So she'll lead them to food, but, she doesn't have the same innate generosity of feeding those fawns as she would for her own biological fawns. It's kind of weird to see all this stuff unfold. The reason the first fawn got hit by a car. There's a field across the road, maybe a quarter of a mile from here, and during harvest, there's a lot of corn that's knocked down on the ground. So all the deer head over there. And our road here it's barely 2 lanes. The trees go right up to the edge of the asphalt. So they just step out of the woods and they're standing on the road. Out here, I came by right after the fawn was hit, like within minutes. Just dumb luck. Just happened to be driving by. But I had to get up early and go to an estate sale the next morning. And when I was pulling out, it was dark out. I pull out onto the road, and here's Jayne with her other fawn standing in the middle of the road, right where the other one was hit, searching. Looking for the other fawn. And I didn't realize that about these animals, is that, they sense the loss. And, well, anyway, long story short, for over a month, every single day, her and the other fawn were standing on the highway, looking for the fawn that was never going to come back to them. And during all that, the other one got hit. So that took that family unit down to just her. And the other 2 fawns they're alive. I mean, they're so tiny, a hunter would really be making a mistake to shoot one of those. But they did shoot their mom, who was a great big doe and a big target. That's the danger of the last day of the 9-day hunting season, is those that they all try to get bucks, it seems. All the hunters try to get a buck. But when they don't, and they have a doe tag, they'll shoot the doe. But it's just crappy that they shot the mom out from underneath the fawns. Okay. This cart has just a center wheel in front and back.
Yeah, and then you move it somewhere else, and you gotta move it. Yeah.
That's old.
No, we can't put it over there.
And that's number 335.
What's your mechanic finding out about the forklift? The starter's not working. No, the starter's not working.
I want some of these for my shop, and I want them to look period right, and I want them to,
That's what I said.
my antique shop.
I said earlier, but I wanted to try to.
Might use them for displays.
I just can't go through and just